Have you ever wondered why, despite your best efforts to eat healthy and make smart choices, your prostate issues still persist, especially those annoying nighttime bathroom trips that rob you of sleep and peace of mind? You might believe that avoiding alcohol, limiting red meat, and staying active is enough. But the truth is, sometimes the very snacks you think are helping your body could actually be silently harming your prostate health. As someone who has worked closely with thousands of men over 64 decades, I've seen one surprising pattern. Many seniors regularly consume certain types of nuts thinking they're doing something good, without realizing these healthy snacks may actually fuel prostate enlargement. These nuts don't cause damage overnight, but over time they can disrupt hormonal balance, contribute to chronic inflammation, and interfere with your body's natural healing processes. What worries me the most is that no one warns them, family. Doctors rarely mention this during quick checkups, and no one teaches us how deeply our physical health is intertwined with our emotional well-being and daily habits. Just one night of poor sleep due to frequent urination can lead to fatigue, mood swings, poor focus, and strain on relationships. The effects go far beyond the bladder. But here's the good news. You have the power to change all of this starting today. With a bit of knowledge, you can avoid the nuts that may be quietly making things worse, and instead, embrace natural choices that support your prostate and long-term vitality. No expensive medications, no invasive procedures, just simple, smart shifts in your daily routine. In today's video, I'll reveal 5 common nuts that may be silently contributing to prostate enlargement and disrupted sleep. And make sure you stay till the end, because the last one might shock you. It's a nut most men believe is incredibly healthy, but it may actually be doing the most harm when it comes to prostate inflammation. Let me be clear, this video isn't meant to scare you, it's meant to empower you. My goal is to give you practical tools to feel stronger, more in control, and more comfortable in your own body naturally. We can't rewind time, but we can absolutely reset our habits and reclaim our strength both physically and emotionally. And before we dive in, if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, now's the perfect time. Tap the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out on important senior health tips designed specifically for you. If you find this video helpful, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0 so I know how to better serve your needs. Let's get started, and don't skip the ending. It could be the most important thing you hear this week. 1. So here's a question most men never think to ask. Could your favorite salty snack be silently working against your prostate? If you're still with me from earlier, you already understand how seemingly harmless habits, especially with food, can either support your prostate or slowly wear it down. And few foods illustrate this better than something so familiar, so comforting, that we rarely question it. Salted roasted peanuts. Now don't get me wrong, peanuts themselves aren't inherently bad. In fact, they're rich in plant-based protein, and can even provide healthy fats. But the way most people consume them, especially men over 60, turns this humble legume into a stealthy threat to your prostate health. And it begins with salt. Salted peanuts are often loaded with sodium, and while our bodies do need sodium in small amounts, chronic overconsumption becomes a silent aggressor, especially for aging men. Too much sodium causes the body to retain water, raising blood pressure and increasing the burden on both the bladder and the prostate. The result: more nighttime trips to the bathroom, more sleep disturbances, and an overworked urinary system that never gets a break. What many don't realize is that this constant pressure and fluid buildup can irritate the delicate tissues of the prostate. Over time, this irritation can lead to inflammation, an underlying trigger in the development and worsening of benign prostatic hyperplasia (BPH). That's the technical term for prostate enlargement, and it's something millions of men silently suffer from. But sodium isn't the only problem here. Here's where it gets even more concerning. Many brands of salted peanuts are roasted in cheap vegetable oils rich in omega-6 fatty acids. Now, omega-6 isn't inherently bad either, an essential fat, but the modern diet is wildly unbalanced, flooded with omega-6 south while lacking omega-3 south. And this imbalance fosters a pro-inflammatory environment inside the body. The prostate, already a hormone-sensitive and inflammation-prone gland, responds poorly to this imbalance. In fact, emerging research shows elevated omega-6 intake may directly aggravate BPH symptoms, worsening swelling, discomfort, and urinary urgency. And let's be honest, when do we usually eat salted peanuts? During casual snacking, while watching TV at gatherings. It's effortless, and that's the danger. Unconscious eating turns into chronic exposure. You might think it's just a handful, but day after day, week after week, that handful adds up. Now, here's the empowering part. You don't have to give up crunch or flavor. The goal isn't to strip away pleasure, but to make smarter swaps. Instead of salted peanuts, try dry roasted unsalted peanuts, or, even better, raw walnuts or almonds. These are packed with anti-inflammatory nutrients like vitamin E, magnesium, and monounsaturated fats, all of which supports hormonal balance and reduce oxidative stress on the prostate. Simple shifts like these don't just help your body, they give you back control. Because here's the bigger picture. When your prostate is calm, your nights are restful, your energy is stable, and your confidence grows. That's not just physical health, that's your emotional well-being, your relationships, your quality of life. So the next time your hand reaches into a bowl of salted peanuts, pause. Ask yourself, is this momentary pleasure worth the long-term cost? And if you're nodding along or learning something new, let me know by dropping a 1 in the comments below. If not, press 0 and tell me what you'd like to see improved. Stay with me, because the next nut we're going to talk about is even more deceptive, and it's sitting in millions of pantries across the country. Let's continue. 2. And now let me ask you something most people never think about. If sugar feeds inflammation, why are we still snacking on sweet-coated nuts without a second thought? Following what we just uncovered about salted peanuts, it's only natural to examine the next innocent-looking snack that so many men over 60 enjoy regularly: honey-roasted cashews. They're crunchy, sweet, and give you that satisfying hit of flavor. But beneath their shiny golden glaze lies a triple threat that most men never associate with prostate problems: sugar, inflammatory oils, and hormonal disruption. Is the truth that often gets overlooked. Added sugar is not just about calories, it's a catalyst for chronic inflammation. Honey-roasted cashews are typically loaded with added sugars, which, when consumed regularly, can activate pro-inflammatory messengers in the blood called cytokines. These tiny chemical signals create an inflammatory environment throughout the body, and your prostate is particularly vulnerable to this inflammatory cascade. When exposed to chronic inflammation, the prostate doesn't just swell, it begins to grow beyond its normal size, contributing to what we call benign prostatic hyperplasia (BPH). The result: more pressure on the bladder, more frequent urges to urinate at night, and more restless, disrupted sleep. But sugar's damage doesn't stop at inflammation. It also wreaks havoc on your hormonal balance, particularly by increasing insulin and decreasing testosterone. Several studies have shown that spikes in blood sugar, especially from sugary snacks like these, can elevate insulin levels, which then suppress testosterone and raise estrogen in men. That's a dangerous shift. The prostate depends on a healthy testosterone to estrogen ratio to maintain its size and function. When that balance tilts in the wrong direction, it sets the stage for prostate enlargement, irritation, and urinary dysfunction. As if that weren't enough, let's talk about the oil. These cashews are often roasted in low-quality vegetable oils, rich in omega-6 fatty acids, without enough anti-inflammatory omega-3 to balance them. Omega-6 amplify systemic inflammation again right where it hurts: your prostate. It's like setting a fire and feeding it both fuel and oxygen, all while assuming everything is under control because it tastes good and seems healthy. And that's where the real problem lies. Snacks like these sneak into our daily routines so quietly: a handful during a break, a bowl in front of the TV, a treat after dinner. Over time, this unconscious habit builds up, and while the sweetness satisfies your tongue, it may be quietly undermining your body's ability to regulate inflammation, hormones, and prostate health. Now, here's the good news: you don't need to abandon cashews entirely. What matters is how they're prepared and how much you eat. Choose raw or dry roasted cashews with no added sugars or oils. Eat them in moderation. Just a small handful goes a long way. Cashews in their natural state can actually provide magnesium, zinc, and healthy fats, all of which support prostate function and reduce inflammation when part of a balanced diet. Because remember, when your prostate is calm, your mind is calmer, your sleep is deeper, and your energy during the day is stronger. That's the link between physical well-being and emotional peace, and it starts with small, intentional choices. So, next time you're about to grab a sweet snack, ask yourself, is this flavor really worth the silent stress it puts on my body? And if you're still with me, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Type 1 in the comments if this insight helped you think twice, or 0 if you'd like me to improve the way I explain it. Stay tuned, because the next snack we're about to uncover is one that most people assume is clean and healthy, but for your prostate, it might be doing more harm than sugar ever could. 3. Let me ask you something that most men overlook. Can a handful of bold, flavored almonds like BBQ or wasabi impact your prostate more than you think? Following our deep dive into sugar-coated cashews, let's shift focus to something a bit more savory but no less sneaky: seasoned almonds. These crunchy snacks are popular among older adults looking for a healthier alternative to chips packed with flavor, easy to store, and seemingly harmless. But just because they're based on almonds doesn't mean they're good for your prostate. Here's what most men don't realize. Flavored almonds are often processed in a way that strips them of their health benefits while layering in ingredients that can fuel chronic inflammation, especially in the prostate. Let's start with the oils. These almonds are frequently roasted in highly processed vegetable oils rich in omega-6 fatty acids. While omega-6 are essential in moderation, today's diets are overwhelmed with them, especially when not counterbalanced by omega-3. This creates the perfect internal environment for chronic low-grade inflammation, a condition deeply linked to benign prostatic hyperplasia (BPH) or age-related prostate enlargement. So when you snack on these regularly, you're unintentionally feeding that cycle of inflammation, one handful at a time. But the trouble doesn't end with the oil-flavored. Almonds often include artificial seasonings, preservatives, and MSG monosodium glutamate. Now, MSG is widely used to intensify flavor, but it also overstimulates nerve cells and triggers inflammatory responses, particularly in sensitive tissues like the prostate. Combine that with a gland already prone to enlargement as men age, and you've got a recipe for more swelling, more nighttime urination, and more discomfort overall. Then there's sodium, the silent saboteur. Most seasoned almond varieties contain more than your daily recommended sodium intake in just one small serving. Excess salt doesn't just raise blood pressure, it irritates the bladder lining and surrounding tissues, including the prostate. Over time, this irritation leads to more frequent urination, incomplete bladder emptying, and sleep disturbances, all of which can take a toll not only on your physical health, but also on your mental clarity, energy, and mood. Now, why does this matter so much? Because your prostate may be small, but its impact on your daily life is enormous. From sleep to comfort to emotional well-being, its health shapes your quality of life. When it's inflamed or enlarged, your entire system feels the strain. And the worst part, most men don't even realize their snack choices are part of the problem. But there's a bright side. You don't have to give up almonds, you just have to choose them wisely. Opt for raw or dry roasted almonds without any seasoning, added oils or sodium. These natural versions are packed with magnesium, fiber, vitamin E, and monounsaturated fats that actually support prostate health and fight inflammation, rather than adding to it. Think about it. A small, mindful shift in your daily habits could be the difference between a restless night and a peaceful one, between constant discomfort and steady energy and focus. That's not just about physical health, it's about your peace of mind, your confidence, and how fully you get to show up in life. So next time you reach for that fiery wasabi almond or smoky BBQ handful, ask yourself, is the flavor worth the risk to your comfort, sleep, and long-term prostate health? If this insight is resonating with you, type 1 in the comments to let me know you're still here. If not, type 0 and tell me how I can explain things better. Now let's move on, because the next food we're about to uncover looks clean, healthy, and even marketed as heart-friendly. But for your prostate, it may be one of the most misleading choices of all. Stay tuned. For let me ask you something a little more personal. Could that tiny indulgence at the end of your day, the chocolate-covered nuts you reach for as a reward, be quietly sabotaging your prostate? After discussing the bold flavors of seasoned almonds, it's time to uncover the sweeter side of the problem. Chocolate-covered nuts are often seen as a guilt-free treat, rich, satisfying, and a small escape from the day's stress, but this comfort food might be doing more than comforting. It may be contributing to chronic inflammation, hormone disruption, and nighttime urinary urgency, a triple threat for men over 60. Let's start with the chocolate. Most of the chocolate used in these snacks is milk chocolate, which is often packed with added sugar. And as we've explored before, excess sugar is one of the most powerful triggers of systemic inflammation. It promotes the release of insulin, throws off hormonal balance, and over time, especially in aging men, this imbalance can lower testosterone while increasing estrogen. Your prostate is highly sensitive to this hormonal shift. As testosterone drops and estrogen rises, the prostate begins to enlarge, setting the stage for benign prostatic hyperplasia, BPH, a condition that leads to frequent urination, discomfort, and broken sleep. But it doesn't end there. Chocolate, especially milk chocolate, contains caffeine, a stimulant that may seem harmless but actually irritates the bladder and can worsen prostate symptoms. Even in small amounts, caffeine can increase urinary frequency and bladder sensitivity. When combined with sugar, it creates what I often call a silent storm inside the body: inflammation, hormonal instability, and overstimulation of the urinary tract. And then we have the nuts themselves. While nuts in their raw or dry roasted form can support prostate health, in chocolate-covered snacks they're usually roasted in refined oils, rich in omega-6 fatty acids, without enough omega-3 south to counterbalance them. Omega-6 south promote inflammation, especially in delicate tissues like the prostate. Worse yet, the smooth chocolate coating can disguise just how many you've eaten. It's easy to go from a few pieces to a handful or more, unknowingly flooding your system with added sugar, caffeine, and processed fat. Here's the thing: most people don't realize your prostate isn't just influenced by genetics or age. It responds directly to what you eat, how you sleep, and the balance of hormones in your body. When it's under constant pressure from inflammatory foods, it starts to swell, sending signals through the urinary tract that wake you up at night and wear you down during the day. And this doesn't just affect your bladder, it affects your mood, focus, and emotional resilience. A tired mind is less patient. A disrupted sleep cycle can lead to anxiety. It's all connected now. I'm not saying you need to give up chocolate forever. In fact, dark chocolate with at least 70% cacao and no added sugar has been shown to support heart health and reduce inflammation due to its flavonoid content. But once it's mixed with sweeteners, dairy, processed oils, and nuts, those benefits disappear, and what remains is a treat that may be quietly undermining your comfort and energy. If you're truly committed to protecting your prostate, Take a second look at how often you're consuming these harmless snacks. Even small changes like choosing plain raw nuts or a square of dark chocolate can restore hormonal balance and reduce inflammation. These decisions don't just help you sleep better, they help you show up better in life. And if you thought chocolate-covered nuts were sneaky, wait until you see the final item on our list of food marketed as clean, simple, and plant-based, but maybe the most dangerous of them all for your prostate. Stay with me. We're about to reveal it next. If this helped you rethink your snack habits, let me know by typing 1 in the comments. If not, type 0 and share your feedback. I'm here to support your health, not scare you. Let's keep going. 5. Here's a question that most people never stop to ask. If nuts are healthy, does that mean all nuts are safest, especially the ones in shiny cans and colorful pouches? After exploring the hidden risks of chocolate-coated nuts, let's now look at something even more deceptive: oil-coated mixed nuts, those Grabango snack blends, often marketed as heart-healthy or natural. The truth is, they may seem harmless, but many of these processed nut mixes are quietly working against your prostate health in ways most men never expect. Let's start with the oil. Most store-bought mixed nuts are roasted in cheap vegetable oils, typically soybean, corn, or sunflower oil. These oils are heavily processed and loaded with omega-6 fatty acids. While your body does need omega-6 in small amounts, it's the imbalance that's the real issue. In today's typical Western diet, omega-6 South far outweigh omega-3 South, and this imbalance has been directly linked to chronic low-grade inflammation, which affects the whole body including, yes, your prostate. When your prostate is constantly exposed to inflammatory signals, it doesn't just swell temporarily. Over time, that inflammation promotes benign prostatic hyperplasia (BPH), a condition where the prostate grows larger and puts pressure on the bladder. Nearly 50% of men over 60 deal with BPH, often without realizing that daily snack habits may be fueling it. But the issue doesn't stop at oil. These snack mixes are typically loaded with salt and artificial flavorings to enhance taste and keep you reaching for more. Most people don't realize that just one serving can contain more sodium than your body needs in an entire day. And as we've discussed, excess sodium causes fluid retention, raises blood pressure, and irritates both the bladder and the prostate. The result: more frequent urination, especially at night, and more disrupted sleep. And we all know that a tired body leads to a tired mind. Interrupted rest impacts your memory, focus, and mood, proving again that prostate health is directly tied to your emotional and mental well-being. Then come the additives. Many of these nut blends contain chemical preservatives and artificial flavor enhancers like MSG, which can overexcite nerve endings and contribute to further inflammation. The nerves around the bladder and prostate are especially sensitive, meaning even low levels of these additives can trigger discomfort, urgency, and chronic irritation over time. But here's the empowering part: you don't have to give up nuts altogether. In fact, raw or dry roasted nuts without added oils, salt, or flavoring are incredibly beneficial. Walnuts, almonds, and even Brazil nuts contain anti-inflammatory compounds like magnesium, vitamin E, and selenium, which can help calm an irritated prostate and support hormonal balance. So the next time you reach for that shiny can of mixed nuts, pause and look beyond the label. Ask yourself, is this snack nourishing my health or quietly undermining it? A simple swap today could mean fewer nighttime trips to the bathroom, more restorative sleep, and a clearer mind tomorrow. Because remember, your prostate may be small, the impact it has on your daily life, energy, and confidence is massive. If this insight opened your eyes to something you hadn't considered before, type 1 in the comments to let me know. And if you think I could explain it better, hit 0. I read your feedback and adjust accordingly. As we wrap up this series, I want to leave you with a powerful life lesson I learned from one of my oldest patients, a reminder that sometimes it's not the big medical decisions, but the small daily habits that determine how strong and vibrant we remain as we age. Stay with me. You won't want to miss what's coming next.